Hey guys, Justin Bryant here from selfmadesuccess.com. In this video, I'm going to show you how to start a business from scratch in 2017. If you want to become an entrepreneur, if you want to have your own business, whether it's a side business, whether it's a full-time business, I'm going to show you how to start a business from scratch, how to go about that, how to plan it right, and how to research it and how to grow it, so that you can actually depend more on this business and diversify your income in a way that gives you a little more freedom. So the first thing you have to do before you start a business is you have to plan it right, and you have to plan it in a way that will make you successful. The first thing you got to do is you have to figure out what your personality is, and you need to figure out what your natural skill set is. Now, a lot of people will tell you to follow your passion and to build a business around your passion. But as I've learned recently, and through doing this myself, through reading about others, our passions change as we get older, as we do different things, as we pick up different skills, as we pick up different hobbies, as we associate with different people, our passion will change. So the thing is, if you want a long-term business, which I assume you want this to be successful long-term, you need to pursue things that can't be changed, like your natural skill set. What do you naturally learn better than most people? Are you naturally artistic? Are you naturally good with numbers? Are you naturally good at writing and wording things? Are you naturally good with people? What are you naturally good at? Are you naturally good at managing things? What is your personality? Your personality, your core personality is not something that's going to change a whole lot. We have a introvert person, for instance. They're most likely not going to become complete extroverts, even if they work on it a lot throughout their life. And, that's just one example. But we're raised a certain way, we're around certain people, and you need to build on your skill set and your personality, not your passion, because passions change. So there's a test that you can take here called the personality test. It's on the KISA Tests website. I'll have a link to this page for you. And I'll show you that these questions, I've actually taken this test already, and it's a very in-depth test. It's just a quick way to go through, answer a bunch of questions, and it'll give you an idea of what kind of personality you have. Are you an extrovert? Are you an introvert? Are you better naturally maybe at certain things? Are you a people person? Are you not? Are you an ambivert, where you're kind of in the middle? So it helps you figure out, different types of personalities, what your main personality is. And it also shows you some examples of others who have been successful or well known that had similar personalities to yours. For instance, one of mine was George Washington. So, that's kind of cool, but you might be something completely different. So that'll help you kind of figure out your personality. Of course, that's just a simple test. You might want to go and just kind of ask other people that know you, or even strangers that don't know you yet, what they think your personality is, just from what they see from you. A great article from bustle.com is 9 ways to figure out what you're meant to do. And I believe this is a very well put together post, and I've used it as an example a few times in past videos, but it's great because it allows you to kind of make a list of what you might be really good at, what you naturally are interested in, kind of overlapping those things. Now, like I said, you don't want to just pursue your passion and that's it. Now, you also don't want to do something you hate doing either, so think about that as well, but you want to be good at it. You want to see progress, and that makes you more passionate about what you're doing, even if you don't start out super passionate about it. And things like, what do you want to be remembered for? Are you at peace with what you're doing? Does it fit your morals? Does it fit what you believe? Things like that. So a couple videos I recommend you watch that will help you kind of figure out how to find what you're supposed to do are the first two in these search results. They're both TED Talks. You can find them on the TEDx Talks YouTube channel. Stop Searching for Your Passion by Terry Trespicio. And the other one is To Find Work You Love, Don't Follow Your Passion by Benjamin Todd. So watch those two videos. I'll have links to those for you. I've watched both of them all the way through. They were extremely informative, very well put by the presenters, and they will really make you think and understand kind of what makes a good career. Number two, where is there a need? So once you kind of know what you have to offer, you need to find out where there's a big need. So what are the most common questions? What are the things that haven't been solved yet? My first rule is to look at things that you wish somebody would create to solve your own problems. So, because there's always going to be others that have the same problems as you. And if you're trying to find ways of making something that would solve your problem that you would use on a day-to-day basis that you really wish was out there already, maybe something that you would even pay for, might look into creating that. Even if there isn't something that comes to mind like that, you can use Quora, for instance. Go look at the top questions, maybe go by industry, figure out what you like doing, maybe what you're good at, and then find industries that would fit that. Maybe look for what kind of products people wish would be created, what kind of services they wish were created. You can look at other business models, say, how can you be the Uber of, food delivery? There's been businesses springing up lately about getting the best food delivered to people, even if the restaurant does not typically deliver. So, what are the top business models going on right now? How can you make another version of that using that model to fit another need? Looking at questions on Quora, looking at top questions on Reddit, look at different subreddits related to what you're good at, what you're interested in. Another way to solve problems and define the biggest problems, just look what the most people have a problem with, like clean drinking water, food supply, space travel, things like that. These are really big problems that you could solve. And if you want to be a billionaire, you solve a problem that helps a billion people. That's something that Robert Diamantis said, and it's something that I truly agree with. And if you want to be a billionaire, you need to solve a problem that a billion people have. So energy storage, we're going to have all these solar roofs and stuff like Elon Musk has come up with, solar panel roofs, where they're, instead of panels, they're actually solar shingles. So how are you going to store that energy for rainy days and cloudy days and nighttime when it's not sunny? So some way of storing that in some kind of battery or something. If you could come up with that, that'd be great. Artificial intelligence, how can we come up with ways to expand on this or even combine it with human intelligence? Because, many scientists believe we will have to be basically cyborgs at some point to avoid machines being the dominant new race. Number 3, space exploration, water scarcity, like I mentioned earlier, food production, those two things right there. Food, water, shelter, those are the basic needs. How can you solve problems in those areas? How can you make it affordable? How can you make it efficient? How can you make it to where everyone has a chance to live the life that they're given? So those types of things can help you solve problems and figure out where there is a need. Number 3, how much money and time do you have to work with? So if you want to solve a problem for a billion people, you may not have the resources to do it yet. Now, you can use crowdfunding, you can get investors, but there are things that come along with that, and you need to be able to do a good pitch if you're going to do that. You might be able to get a good partner, You may know some people through family, friends, coworkers, etc. But how much money do you have to work with? How much time do you have? Time, of course, you can't have an investor create time for you. You have to work with whatever time you have. So if you're working a job and trying to start a business and grow it before you quit your job, you're not going to have a lot of time to work with. You might want to do like an internet-based company, a blog, a YouTube channel, maybe sell some courses online or something like that. But if you have a lot of time, if you have a lot of money in the bank, maybe you have some experience with marketing or something, you could go get investors and do a big company. So you got to look at things like that. What do you have to work with? Number 4, what is the market for it? Okay, so now we got to get into more technical stuff. Let's say you want to start a very niche product, like teaching a parrot to talk. This is just a random example. I know I'm using this example because it's somebody who I think is an inspiring person. His name is Frank Kern. He started out trying to find a way to start a business online, struggled and struggled and struggled. He did door-to-door sales and things like that, just getting by. And then all of a sudden he became a multimillionaire, a very successful marketing consultant. One of the first products he ever created was called, or I don't remember exactly what it was called, but it was about teaching parrots to talk. And it was like an ebook. So it was so niche, so small of a group of people, but it was something that people who owned a parrot really wanted to know, and there wasn't a lot of competition. So he ended up making quite a bit of money, took off, invested back in his business, learned marketing, and the rest is history. But the keyword planner for Google is a great way to figure out if there's a market for your product. So now, right now, teaching a parrot to talk doesn't look too good. I would look for something like that has at least 1 to 10,000 searches a month. So you might want to organize it by average monthly searches. So if you can get something at least 1 to 10,000 monthly searches a month, that's pretty good. Medium to low competition would be better, depending on what you're doing. But if there's high competition, you're not going to have as much luck. So low to medium competition, 1,000 to 10,000 monthly searches or more. You don't need to worry about suggested bid as much unless you're going for an advertising business like Google AdSense. And I'll talk about different things like that in a minute. But look for something that has a good trend, and I'll show you some other ways to look into this. But another thing to do is check YouTube, because YouTube is becoming, well, it's now the second biggest site in the world. So you can look into what people are searching for in YouTube, because as a website that's growing so much, and considering video traffic is supposed to really take over as the primary form of consuming internet content, you might want to look and see how popular it is on YouTube. On top of all that, millennials tend to go more on YouTube than most other sites. So millennials are going to be your customer base most likely, because they're getting into early adulthood and 20s and 30s, where you're going to rely on them for a long period of time as the next generation starts to kind of get older and get to that point where they're starting to have jobs and buy stuff. But millennials right now, that is the target market that you want to go after. So you would look at stuff like this on YouTube. So for instance, if this is what you're going to go after, teach parrots to talk, search it, figure out kind of what the market is for it. Now, there's not a lot of competition here, not too many views. This one actually has quite a few views, but if you want to sell a course on this, there's probably not a big enough market. I don't think enough millennials are going to care about this, but this is just an example. You would search it on the keyword planner. Like I said, low to medium competition, 1,000 to 10,000 or more average monthly searches, and you want to look for something. Typically, if you have something like when you teach Press to Talk and you have 10 drop down menus on here, 10 drop downs after typing in the keyword phrase, that means there's quite a few searches. It might be something you want to look at. So if you're typing it in to the YouTube search bar and there's 10 searches down here that are related, that means there's quite a few people searching for it. So you might do something in that industry. So look and see if there's a market for it. How will you get paid? Okay, so if you figured that there's enough people searching for it that you can find a way to get enough from it to where you know that there's going to be enough traffic. By the way, another thing you might check is Google Trends. You want to see if it's trending up or not. And we'll go over that more in a minute, but that's another way that you can check this. But like I said, you need to make sure that once you have something that you know there's a market for, that either solves your own problem or solves the problem of others, and that hasn't really been solved well yet, how will you get paid? How are you actually going to make money from it? Because that's kind of the point of a business. Obviously, it needs to help people. We'll talk more about that in a second, but it has to pay you. Otherwise, you can't keep it going, and you can't justify spending your time on something that's just going in the hole. You have a family, you have yourself, you have expenses, you have bills. So there are many different ways that you can monetize a business, and I especially recommend you start out at least with an online business. And if you want to do that, I have an entire video playlist on YouTube that will teach you all the different ways that you can monetize your businesses. So you might go down here and look and see which ones make the most sense. If you want to turn your hobby into a business, here's 11 ways to do that. If you're looking into a blog, there's how to do it for beginners. If you want to do it with mobile apps, there's a video for that. If you want something that's free to start, there's 13 right there. If you want to do affiliate marketing where you get commissions for promoting other people's products, then there's a video here. So I have pretty much covered almost all the main ways to make money online in this playlist. You can just go down the list. I'll have a link to it for you. You can find it on my YouTube channel at Justin Bryant on YouTube. And that will allow you to kind of go through and look at your options of how you can get paid. But a few examples right off the bat are you could sell an online course. If you want to sell a course without much liability or worrying too much about putting it on your website, doing customer support and all that, you can actually host it on course websites where you can do it on Udemy, you can do it on Skillshare, you can do it on Teachable.com. So if you know a lot about a subject more than the average person, you could sell a course. You could do freelancing, and another thing I really recommend, because that's one of the fastest to get started in terms of a business. Fiverr is a great place to start here. You can do small gigs, $5, $10, $15 a gig. And then you can work your way up to hundreds of dollars per task. You may even go up to Upwork later on. But those kinds of things can really help you figure out what you want to do. Hopefully this playlist will be very useful to you. Talking about making money online, I know that's something a lot of people are interested in, especially with the way technology is going. Many people are going to have to find a business instead of relying on jobs because of automation, because of artificial intelligence going to replace many jobs in the future. I recommend you at least look into starting a business, especially on the internet. Number 6, what is the risk liability of doing this? So things that are low risk, like I said, you can do Udemy courses instead of selling the course on your website. That will reduce your risk a lot. You won't have to deal with customer support. You won't have to deal with hosting and all that stuff. Having a website by itself is a really hard job. Trust me, I know. Fiverr, if you wanted to sell freelance services instead of doing it with a actual lease space and employees and all of that, or your own website, you can just sell services on Fiverr or Upwork or other freelance websites. That's an example of how you can reduce your risk. So if you think there's going to be a lot of risk or liability, which basically means people could file a lawsuit against you for something, or you are going to have to spend a lot of time just maintaining your business and growing it with your website, with your customer support, with employees, product development, updates. You need to look at that and see how much time you have and how risk tolerant you are. So, if you have a business that you want to start and it's going to be kind of risky like that, you might want to set up an LLC and get your tax structure created with your CPA to where you don't have to worry about people coming after your personal assets if something goes wrong with your business. Number 7, how can you track results accurately? So you need to be able to track your numbers if you want to get anywhere when it comes to this type of stuff. So one of the things you can do is Google Analytics. It's free. If you have your own website and you've decided that you want to do the website route, Google Analytics will show you how many clicks you're getting, how much traffic you're getting. You can set goals to where you can track how many people buy something or how many people get to the sales page. Then you can improve each part of your sales process to where you can find what's working and what's not. That's the whole point of knowing your numbers. How can you track your business? With a brick and mortar style business, it might be harder to track how much traffic you're getting because you're having to track people walking in the door instead of people who go to a website. Just little things like that. You can keep your costs down with an online business. Analytics is free for Google Analytics. So you need to be able to track what's working, what's not. You need to be experimenting with a lot of different ways of marketing, presenting your product so that you can find what works best. And without knowing the numbers, you just won't know. So you won't be able to grow your business much. If you don't want to use Google Analytics, there's 10 analytic tools, but that including Google Analytics that are really top notch that you could try. I'll have a link to this page for you, but of course, besides them, we have Clicky, we have Mint, Church Analytics, Kissmetrics, Open Web Analytics, QuickTail, Crazy Egg. So, you can do heat maps where you can see where people are clicking the most, where people are looking the most. You can figure out where your visitors are coming from, what countries, what age group they're probably in. All these different things can really help you figure out what's working and what's not. So you need to know the numbers, and it's really not negotiable if you want to have a good business. Okay, so what is the long-term industry outlook? So how much potential does this business actually have? Is this something that could be replaced by technology in the future, in maybe 10 years? With the way it compounds, if you're looking to be just a virtual assistant, for instance, or you want to just do some transcription services, those are the types of things that are going to be replaced. If you want to be an Uber driver, that's great. You can have a little side business as an Uber driver, but Uber's already experimenting with self-driving cars. You'll be replaced within 5 or 10 years. What kind of industry and what kind of business can you do that would last for decades, that could really help you depend on the income? So one way to check this out is Google Trends. I mentioned them earlier. They will show you what people are looking for by the day, by the week, by the month, by the year, by the last 5 years, which country you're in, which categories you want to look at. Let's say you want to look at business. You can look at what people are looking for right now, what people are looking for in the last few years, and that can give you an idea of, what the actual trends are. So if it's trending up in the upward direction over the last few years, it may be something to look at. If it's trending down, you want to avoid doing a business in that area. If you feel like it's something, if you do some research, you feel like it's something that could be replaced or obsolete in 5 or 10 years, you probably shouldn't even bother with it. So another example, if you want to look at, say, technology, let's be honest, is the biggest threat to most businesses and jobs because it's accelerating so fast and it impacts everything. So these are 21 jobs where robots are already replacing humans. This is something you might look at in your spare time. It's on MSN and their website, but I'll go through a few of them with you. Chef, they have chefs that are, pretty much if you can narrow down a process, a predictable process that a human does to numbers or to coordinates and things like that, measurements, like the amount of an ingredient to put in something, then it can be automated with robots, basically. So you have chefs, you have factory workers, we already knew that, surgeons even, retail sales associates, security guards, shepherds, farmers, pharmacists, food delivery drivers, journalists, soldiers even. We have drones, of course. Everybody knows about those. Receptionists, a telephone salesperson. So, there's so many different things that technology is impacting, and you need to look at that before you start a business in that area. So how strong is your competition? So another thing you can do is look at your competition. Now, if you're trying to compete with a giant in the industry and you're not going to be a whole lot different from something that they're already doing, there's no point. You want to be a big fish in a small pond more than you want to be a small fish in a big pond. So let's say you wanted to start a business where you just talk about the latest business news and stuff, or the latest entrepreneur news. So let's say you want to create your own version of entrepreneur.com. Well, unless you have a major difference that makes people leave entrepreneur.com to go to your site instead, you're going to have a hard time making a living from this business. Now, if you feel like you really could beat them, one thing you can do, you can copy their page or their just overall site URL, paste it in the Moz Open Site Explorer, press search, and that will tell you basically what you would have to do to beat them in search results on Google. So if you want to get more traffic than this website, you want to start a website, you're pretty much decided that you want to do this, they have an 89 out of 100 domain authority, 91 out of 100 page authority, and the established links. They have over 3,500 root domains, which means the home page domains. So instead of entrepreneur.com/blog, it'd be just entrepreneur.com. That's a root domain. And then total links from just even sub-pages of different websites is over 91,000. So to beat them at their own game, you would basically need to get a lot of links from good domains like them. You would need to get, they publish about 40 to 50 new articles a day, so you would probably have to do that, if not more, to catch up to them. And you would just have a hard time. You would have to make yourself different in some way. How would you make yourself better than entrepreneur? You have to be better than your competition. So maybe you publish 40 to 50 posts a day, but instead of a 500 to 700 word post like many of theirs are, maybe you go more in depth with a 1,500 to 2,000 word post. Now that would be hard. You'd have to hire a lot of writers. It'd be very expensive. But I'm just giving you an example of how you would have to go about beating your competition. Because if you can't beat your competition, if you can't separate yourself to make yourself the obvious choice in your industry, you shouldn't even start a business in that area. So another thing you need to do is figure out, are you helping people? So this is really the last thing that you need to think about. Is your business actually helping people? because the amount of money you make is a direct correlation of how many people you're helping or how much value you're adding to each person's life. So let's say you're helping 1,000 people and you're adding, a new car to their life. So they're paying a lot of money to you. You're making a big impact on their lives. Or let's say you're helping 1,000,000 people and you're supplying them a $2 app that makes them a little more productive. So you're making a small impact on their life. Not as big as saying a car purchase or something, but because you're impacting so many more people in a small way, you still make as much money as somebody who sells a car to 1,000 people. It's just an example, but you need to figure out how you're going to actually help people, how you're actually going to make this about them instead of just about you making money. If your business is about making money and that's it, you will fail. I had to learn this the hard way. I always focused on making money my first couple of years. I didn't get anywhere. When I started focusing on how I can contribute to other people, how I can help people maybe who are struggling in certain areas that I used to struggle in, that's when I started making quite a bit of money online. So that's what you have to do. How are you going to help people? And those videos that I mentioned, that's one of the main things they talk about. You have to actually help others to feel good about your business, to stick with your business, to enjoy your business, and to make a lot of money with your business. So a couple books I recommend to you if you really want to do this, you really want to start a business, and you really want to help people, you want to think big, you want to change the world. One of them is Elon Musk, Tesla, SpaceX, and the Quest for a Fantastic Future. It's by Ashley Vance, and I recommend you read that. It's an entire, basically, a biography on Elon Musk, who is one of the most interesting people in the world, I think, because of all the successful, pioneering businesses that he started that have really changed the world and that are going to change the world even more in the future, with his Mars missions, with his private space program, with his development of clean energy for the average home, for electric cars. Things like that are really impacting the world, and he's doing everything he can to make the world a better place. So I recommend you read that book. It's only $1.99 on Kindle. I mean, why not? Another one is Bold by Robert Diamandis. His name is Peter Diamandis. Got his name wrong. Sorry about that, Peter. But Bold, How to Go Big, Create Wealth, and Impact the World. And that is a book that will really inspire you to want to change the world, do things in a big way, and impact more people instead of just doing a small business that really impacts just a little bit, or instead of starting another one of the dozens of donut shops in your area. I mean, do we really need another donut shop, or do we need somebody who can create and find a solution for clean water in low income countries? How can you impact the world? What can your business do to help people? So that's really what it comes down to. That's what will determine how much money you make. So if you got something from this video, if you feel like you learned something that can help you go through the process of creating a business, asking yourself the right questions so that you can be successful, please like and subscribe so I can create more videos like this for you. Also, if you want to let me know what you thought about the video in general, or just let me know what helped you start a business, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to just get your feedback. I'm always trying to improve these videos for you, so I welcome any feedback you have. And if you want all the links, show notes, and related content to this video, you can find all that on one page at selfmadesuccess.com, and it's under the title of the video. Also, you can find that in the first couple sentences of the video description. So other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a great day.